So from that lovely soothingness, can we go into focusedness? Okay, so that, listen, we've done this last year, we know where it's at. How many people received this to be able to read before this meeting? Absolutely fine. What we're going to do, it's called the Code of Conduct and Ethics for Macrobiotic Professionals. It's a suggestion that has come from a lot of work. We began in the UK in order that people who became qualified to give coaching and consultations in the UK, just as the EU was beginning to make it very strict for, what can you say, to make the rules very strict for practitioners. And we wanted all the people who became qualified in England to know how to look after themselves with insurance, how to behave professionally, so how to be enfolded in a safe environment for their practice. I think you could say that. When we presented it last year, those of you who are here may recall, because quite rightly, there are 100 different views in macrobiotics about how these things go. Absolutely fabulous. So some people like this idea a lot, and some people don't like it at all, because they feel it's taking away a certain freedom. And you know, part of me is in agreement with everything. However, we have found that it's eminently sensible. We do live in this age, and I would like to give you an example that happened to me the other day, and I went, that's why we're putting forward the Code of Conduct and Ethics for Macrobiotic Professionals. Somebody in the choir that I belong to had a problem. I was helping her with the problem in her back. She said, is there anybody I can see in central London? Lovely lady, a little bit younger than me. I said, oh, and this gentleman's name came to my memory. I've known of him. He's very famous in his sphere of body work, and I just emailed it to her. And within 24 hours, I had an email back. I mean, he's been very well known in the UK. He's been banned from practicing for sexual whatever with a client. Yeah, misconduct is the term, isn't it? Now, this is so rare, but there you go. That was 5 weeks ago. It happens, and that is why we want to protect our practitioners from that kind. Does that ring bells? This was the purpose. Really, we're doing good work. Let's not let ourselves down. So, particularly working with Luisa Bolsa, who cannot be here for family reasons. She would love to have been here. She's put so much work into this. Oliver Calmedo has put so much work into this, and I put a bit of work into it. And you know how these things are, this word here, that word here. So I'm going to run through. And my purpose at the moment is, I think we have half an hour. Let's focus, if you like it, hopefully in 20 minutes, I'm going to ask us to vote. Would you like to use it as a basis? Not as a finite detail, as a basis for what you might like to do in your country. Does that make sense? It's just a little starting point to how you can protect people who you are training, because every country's laws are different. Okay. So let's run through. You tell me when you've more. The aim of this code of conduct, am I in the way? Yes, please. That would be great. That's perfect. So you can see, the aim of this Code of Conduct and Ethics is to promote the highest standards of practice in macrobiotics. Maybe you could just, throughout the world, for the protection and safety of both the client and the professional. Different approaches within macrobiotics coexist. And these guidelines can be adapted to, I can read it from here, and these guidelines can be adapted to each country or institution, so long as the aim is safeguarded for the benefit of everyone as a professional, and for macrobiotics as a way of life and a body of knowledge. Understudies and experience, I'm happy here. Acknowledge any limitations in your studies, experience or competence, and decline to work with anyone unless you are able to do so in a safe and professional manner. Could be a change of wording there. Continuously maintain and improve professional skills and competence by deepening your studies and/or participating and promoting peer group discussions, so CPD. On a regular basis, take the time and opportunity to reflect on your own work and receive feedback from someone more experienced, such as a mentor. Self-conduct and cooperation. Always act in such a manner as to respect each client, to promote and safeguard their best interest and well-being, and in a compassionate, supportive manner. That means not a bossy one. Ensure that consultations, teaching and cooking are carried out in an environment that is appropriate, safe and clean, so that no action or omission on your part or within your sphere of responsibility is detrimental to the interest, condition or safety of the client or client's property. You may be there. Communicate clearly with clients in advance to agree on hours required, the fees, cooking details, or any other instruction. Seems little, so important. And any ongoing help by telephone, online, or in person. These are the little details that can actually, you all know, can so upset a situation. When working with colleagues, conventional or non-conventional healthcare professionals, or the client's family, very important. Work in a cooperative manner, recognizing and respecting the contribution others make to the well-being of the client. When you observe that a client could benefit from seeing another practitioner within macrobiotics, orthodox medicine, or a different complementary discipline, be prepared to recommend them to your client so they can seek their help. Avoid abusive relationships with clients or students under any circumstances, business, financial, personal, or sexual, and speak and behave in an honorable and respectful manner. Legal framework and social equity. Give advice or undertake cooking only with the client's informed consent, and ensure the client understands the nature of the service they will be receiving. Make no claim on curability or cause any distress by seeming to make what could be taken as medical diagnosis. Write and use a clear disclaimer about what clients can expect for your services. For example, the nature of advice class given here is educational, informative, and intending to promote health. It is not medical advice or treatment, nor a replacement for it. Therefore, if you want or require medical advice, you go to a qualified medical doctor. Advice may be given on how to increase Advice may be given on how to increase health through dietary and lifestyle changes, but without alleging healing specific serious illness. Some people here will have questions about that. Never advise your client on any prescribed medication from a doctor or any other therapist. At the most, you can refer clients to their doctor, therapist to discuss it. On the question, and it's a big question, of taking or ceasing to take any prescribed medication, always have the client refer to the original prescribing doctor or therapist. Does that make sense? Yeah, good. Okay, that means... Oh. Keep informed about the law in force in the country where you work with respect to commercial practices, providing services to third parties, especially in what concerns working with children, with people with mental disorders and people with venereal diseases, and abide by the laws of the country or countries in which you practice. Seek to ensure that you have a civil liability insurance for your work activities that protects you and your business as well as the client's interests. If public liability or indemnity insurance cover is available in the country or countries where you practice, you must obtain this and renew it every year. Quite important. If appropriate insurance cover is not available, you must agree to abide by the laws of the country or countries in which you practice. Recognize and respect the unique nature and dignity of each client, following the principles of non-discrimination at all times, and avoid being judgmental about clients' or third parties' individual choices. Consider to be bound by professional confidentiality and take measures to keep all clients' notes and/or records confidential and to keep the records. Whenever using your work to serve as testimony and/or to enforce credibility of macrobiotics, nationally and internationally, always safeguard the privacy of your clients according to the law in force of that country or countries in which you practice. Advertising, in your advertising, must not make any claims of superiority or curability. Advertising makes no detrimental comparisons to other professional members. Be guided by this code of conduct and ethics for any advertising you make, ask to have made, or others make on your behalf. I just want to read the last part because before we have any questions, because I have a question about this. By agreeing to abide by this code of conduct and ethics for macrobiotic professionals, you agree to implement it every day and to publicize them as being approved by the International Macrobiotic Conference, the Valencia 31st. And I would like to say right now that I don't think the International Macrobiotic Conference is a body who is in a position to approve or not approve. So I feel this is a redundant sentence. Do you all agree?
Yes.
Fine. And I honestly want to say this. I feel that I'll be really honest, to tell a whole lot of fairly professional already macrobiotic people to implement it every day and publicize it is actually, we do not need to say that because it's all said in the rest of the document. It's there. So could I just, before we go any further, that last part, do we agree that it's not necessary? Yes or no?
The last paragraph.
I think
we do not need it.
Okay, but we could say something like we have a definition of macrobiotics that came out from a conference.
Yes.
Right? So we could change, instead of saying approved, we could say that it was discussed in the Valencia. I think it would give more...
It will all be done. Yeah. It will happen. Yeah. Okay, very good, done. Thank you very much indeed for that.